the big issue we want to talk about. Following on what was said, former Governor Nyesom Wike, now FCT Minister, has talked about security in the FCT, but the NSA as well as governors of the northern region actually met yesterday, and some decisions were made. Not everything came to the public, of course, when it comes to security.
Yeah, it was a closed
but we have
meeting.
a guest who is going to be joining us to talk about all of the insecurity in the north and the parts of the country. But let's take a listen to this first.
Recently, cases of citizens being abducted in theaters of operations in the northeast, northwest, and north central were recorded. These citizens were abducted by a brutal and bloodthirsty group that should be addressed as terrorists and not bandits. I repeat, these are terrorists and not bandits. I will add that one thing I see common in most of the abduction cases that occurred was that the military was not giving prior notice and notified on time in order for us to embark on a quick intervention of a search and rescue effort. What I can assure is that we will not rest until all of these hostages are returned.
Yes, the Director of Defense Media Operations, Major General Edward Buba, speaking there, and some of the things that he has said will definitely get you talking. So what are the other things that will get you talking? The Gombe State Governor also said yesterday, after that 4-hour-long meeting, that they will review and take alternative decisions about the concern of insecurity in Nigeria's north. And he also said that they are amenable to the proposal of non-kinetic solutions to the challenge of insecurity. So let's have this conversation this morning as we have joining us Mr. Adams Abu, retired Assistant Director, Internal Security, SSS, Security and Intelligence Consultant, and he's also a fellow, International Institute of Professional Security, FIPS. He joins us via Zoom in Kogi State. Good morning and welcome to the morning brief, retired.
Good morning. It's my pleasure to be with you this morning.
Yes, it's our pleasure to have you as well. So let's start from that meeting held by the Northern Governors with the National Security Advisor. So what would you, how would you react to the proposal of adopting non-kinetic approach to tackling insecurity in Nigeria's north? Would it be a novel strategy that will get us some results in our bid to ending insurgency and banditry in the north, in Nigeria's north?
Thank you very much. I think what they have not told us is this non-kinetic approach. In what manner is it going to look like? Are they going to look at the areas they have failed their subjects and which had made it very easy for terrorists, for bandits, for kidnappers to recruit, people across board into this terrible organization? Let me explain. What are they going to do to address the massive poverty that ravages the northern part of the country? What are they going to do to reduce the massive Al-Majiri syndrome that made it very easy for these terrorists to recruit this category of Nigerians? What are they going to do to bring development into their areas to reduce poverty, which had made some weak-minded individuals to join these criminal organizations? They have not told us. What are they going to do to encourage education? If you look over the years, if you look at what these people that are talking today, especially their leaders past, have done to education in their areas, you just shake your head. What are they going to do to bring back industries that have left this country? What are they going to do? Those of them that pay 50%, 20% salary to their local government staff, vis-a-vis the resources available to them, what are they going to do? They need to tell Nigerians. There's so much for them to do. It's not just about getting the civilian JTF to support the fighting forces who are overstressed, who have been doing fantastic job, who have been doing great sacrifices in the face of inadequate resources in terms of technology, personnel, equipment, and all the like. What are they going to do? I am even surprised that they just wake up overnight that it is now they feel they should have a meeting with the NSA. Well, maybe it's because of this adage that says it's better to be late than never. But they need to tell us those things that they need to do so that we can make input, because we know what they are supposed to do for us. What are they going to do about the massive corruption in the various states and local governments across this country? What are they going to do? What are they going to do about respecting law and giving it the teeth to bite? What are they going to do? They need to tell Nigerians. The time for talking because things are hard is over. And I think we need concrete action. I think that is what I want to say at this stage.
So by what you said, loads of questions. We don't have that answer. They have the answer. Apparently, you're disappointed with the management of the resources of the region economically, because from what you said, I can infer that you see that as a major trigger. You worked in the intelligence community, and one of the things we're always worried about is the fact that why are we always reactionary? Why are we always reacting instead of being proactive? So from your end, what is the missing link in the ability to ramp up intelligence so that it doesn't happen or is minimal in the first place?
Let me come to the area of intelligence. You see, when people say intelligence is missing, I just sometimes laugh. Which intelligence is missing, for goodness sake? Let's look at terrorism in the northern part of the country. For those that don't know, as far back as 1996, you are aware that some of the rebels, I think in Niger and Chad, used to make incursion into Nigeria, rob our people, and then use the resources to go and fight their own challenges that they had there. And from there, some of our own people who have been lying idle, doing nothing, began to learn, to understand that they too can do something like that and begin to make something. This is the beginning. All this is in the public view. All these are things that security agencies, this issue of, we have said these times without number, that for you to reduce insecurity in any nation to the barest minimum, there must be adequate development that will make the citizenry belong to their country. And I've said this before, and I want to repeat it here. If you go to some of these nations, if there is a crime committed today, give them 2 hours, information will come out, because everybody is committed to it, because their nation is committed to their cause. But it's not when Nigerians are watching, thugs are the ones that are rewarded, in a political contest, and they think it will be easy for other Nigerians to come out. Even those that are supporting us, we give them all, we thank them because it's the high level of patriotism. But these people need to do more. These people need to do more. Let me give you another example. It's long we have been talking about state police. Why do you think people are objecting to state police? The only reason, if not it's the best thing that will happen to support our security architecture, is because of what the political leaders who use this state police to do, particularly for their opponents and during elections. It's the fear of them that has made us not to be able to use this particular tool that is very, very important in dealing with the present situation that we have. And so I want to say that as long as these people, let us hope now, let me say this, let us hope now that they have realized they will get back home and begin to do the needful. It is at that level that every operation that is being carried out, both kinetic and non-kinetic, can succeed and giving us the desired results.
Yeah, speaking of which, non-kinetic is what is being proposed. But if we could look at a template of non-kinetic, which is Operation Safe Corridor, how well has it succeeded? And if there are results in that regard, insurgency and banditry is not waiting for the results of, non-kinetic approach. Speaking of which, for instance, how have the insurgents been able to regroup in Borno State so quickly to stage another kidnap of 300 women? So will non-kinetic be the way to go, giving the results or the little results that we have seen from past programs?
Thank you very much. I think let us marry the two. When you talk about the incident in Borno State, let us also look at the incident in Kaduna and some other places. And even apart from these two major kidnaps that you are talking of, there are massive killings going on in other states. We heard of Benue of recent. We heard of part of that Kaduna State, Plateau, and all the like. And there are these penetration in other areas, some of them not massively reported. The non-kinetic approach will not yield the desired result if there is no massive kinetic operation to back it up. Always remember that anytime these bandits or terrorists are quiet, just have it at the back of your mind that they are planning for a bigger surprise. Just watch, look at all over, even all over the world. In fact, when they said let there be ceasefire, even when they are at a big war, just take note that they want to use that period to launch a comeback that will be very devastating to their opponent. So it is we that think that it is quiet, it is succeeding. Okay, look at it now. When you have an attack, what do? You are supposed to respond to that attack immediately. Now, in our case, each time there is quietness, do we prepare a standby force across the place that in case there is an attack, we can immediately respond and neutralize them? If you ask me, I've not seen much of it. And that's why each time they attack, they go away with it. They do all the, commit all the atrocities, and our actions are always reactive. So, but we have forgotten that as long as these guys are quiet, they are planning for a bigger surprise, and they have always done that. I think the earlier we learn that, so that we can make our kinetic operation, back it up with our kinetic operation, back it up with massive resources for kinetic operation preparedness. In one of the states where there was a robbery of recent, you can see the time it took before a counter-attack came in. The guys were able to, rob successfully, left, and then they were engaged by the security forces. Even other forces could not even find their feet until these guys have gone. So we need to look at these things. It's not something that one will work independent of the other. All of them should be integrated. And while we continue to, you see, you know that it's very easy for the terrorists to recruit than for us to get patriotic Nigerians to serve in the security forces. So these are things we must look at, and we must continue to work, to make sure that they work together.
Let's take, I had a question, but he said something I want to follow up on. He says it's easy for the terrorists to recruit than for us to get patriotic Nigerians to join the army. Can you explain that?
You see, just like I said before, if you go to the north, where you have these Almajiris, they are already disenchanted with the system. Most of them have no means of livelihood. Most of them, you can convince them with a very, very, very minute religious sentiment, and they will join them before you know it. And before you know it, okay, if you take the case of Kaduna, now they have these massive students in their with them, and already they have big fighting force with them. All of them they will use as a shield. So, and that is why in your connecting operation for this kind of assignment, it is very, very difficult for you, because you don't want to kill everybody that you find on ground. You understand? And then when you come to recruitment, you know how long. There was a time in this country where a particular security agencies, because they had differences, to even recruit, it took over 4 years. Whereas the terrorists were recruiting on a daily basis. So we should look at our system. We should look at our system to reduce all the what do I say, encumbrances to recruitment and training, encumbrances to collaboration with other agencies or other patriotic Nigerians in fighting the kind of war that we have. For me, I want to believe that we are at war, and when you're at war, you do things very differently. Let me add this. I don't know what question you are going to ask next. When last did you execute a terrorist that is condemned? When last did we execute a robber who killed people that is condemned? When last did we execute a kidnapper that killed people that is condemned? I mean, these are things that we need to look at holistically.
And this would suggest that you support the wife of the president in her what now seems to be continuing call for stiffer penalties for those caught, arrested for kidnapping and charged and prosecuted.
Instantly. We don't need to even waste time, because they are wasting. Look at somebody that paid over 23 million. After paying that money, he was still killed. When you get them arrested, anyway. So I think we need to act fast.
Yeah. So in 30 seconds now, react very quickly to the Army's position expressed by Major General Edward Buba that the residents do not report on time when these events happen. How valid is that, given concerns that in some of these areas, there aren't even police formations? What are your thoughts there, sir?
I think the issue of not reporting on time, don't forget that terrorists and bandits have beaten our people to stupor so much that some people are even afraid, if there are kidnapping and so on, for them to even report to authority. There's no doubt about that. But again, we should be able to have our own system that without being reported to know what is happening in our society, to enable us to respond immediately without waiting for anybody to come and report to us. I think that is the level that we should be. That is the level that we should be.
A good way to anchor and some points for the Army and other security agents to indeed reflect on. Retired Assistant Director, Internal Security, Mr. Adams Abu, thank you so much. He's also the Fellow, International Institute of Professional Security. Thank you so much for your contribution on the program.
It's my pleasure to be with you this morning. Thank you.
Yes. And that's it for this segment. Up next now, we're continuing our conversation. This time we'll be looking at what happens to your retirement savings account. What questions are you asking about that account now? And what are you doing to track it? Stay with us for this conversation. It concerns you. We'll be right back.